KJ Wright from the Seattle Seahawks, and you are watching NORBFAM.
This is Walter Jones, Pro Football Hall of Famer, top 100.
Tyler Lockett from the Seattle Seahawks.
DK Metcalf.
Nate Burleson. You're watching NORBFAM.
NORBFAM. You're watching NORBFAM.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is NORBFAM coming at you. Doing a live stream here. Haven't done one in a while. I'm excited to get into it because the 2024 season is about to get underway. And we're going to jump into this kind of fun topic here before the real season starts. And that is to talk about what would the ultimate Seahawks dream team be? If you could take any player from any era of the Seahawks and put them on like the master list, what would that team look like? The ultimate dream team. We're going to talk about that. Compare our lists and see what you guys have compared to my list. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. I've got a little bit of updated news coming at you, a couple of nuggets before we get into it. So let's get into it right now. All right, first of all, thanks again for watching. I'm NORBFAM. Appreciate you guys being on here, whether it be on Facebook or YouTube. I want to say a shout out to Marcus, been on here. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. T-Man, What Panda, how's it going? And yeah, this is an exciting time right now. Training camp has officially started, not for the entire team, but for the rookies. They started yesterday. And, you know, things are finally getting rolling. The veterans will come in. The rest of the team will come in next week on the 23rd. And then we really start to see what this team is going to look like. I'll actually be going to training camp on the 24th. And so I'm going to be doing a giveaway coming up in the next few days. If you'd like to go to training camp with me, I've got some passes that you can win. So keep an eye out for that as we get closer to the official start of the season. A little bit of news out there just to kind of whet your appetite a little bit. So with the Seahawks, there are going to be some upgrades. I don't know if you know about this, but in Lumen Field, which it's hard to believe that stadium is 22 years old. Originally built as Seahawks Stadium in 2002. It is now going to be officially 22 years this year. But they have been doing upgrades to kind of modernize things. They got, last year, if you recall, they added a whole new LED light system, which was awesome. So on those night games, they could do those flashy lights in different colors and all that kind of stuff, which was really cool, especially on the team intros. But this year, they are going to be putting in a brand new sound system. It was confirmed on sources on the inside with the Seahawks. It is going to be happening this year. Multi-million-dollar sound system, state-of-the-art. If you've ever been to the stadium before, it's not exactly the best sounding system in the world. This thing is going to knock your socks off. So I can't wait to see it. They may debut it on the mock game on August 3rd, which I'll also be at. Otherwise, we'll start seeing it when the preseason starts, which is just a few weeks away. A little bit of other news here in regards to our rivals down south, the San Francisco 49ers. This came out a couple days ago, but Brandon Ayuk, the very talented receiver for the 49ers, requested a trade from the Niners as they have not been able to come up with a contract agreement. The 49ers offered him $26 million a year. He feels like he deserves more than that, so now he's officially requesting a trade. Now, the reality is the 49ers have to hold all the cards because he's still technically under contract, so they don't really have to pay him more money. But, of course, what good is a receiver who is unhappily on the roster? So it'll be interesting to see how things play out there. Will they reach a contract agreement? Will they franchise tag him? Will they get a deal done? Who knows? What I know is that there's a little trouble in paradise down there in the Bay Area, which is music to my ears. So we'll see what happens. In case you're curious, you should check out the show Receivers on Netflix. It's like the show Quarterback that they did, I think, last year. Peyton Manning produces this show, amongst others, but it focuses on the receivers, particularly, who is it? Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Lions, Devontae Adams from the Raiders, Justin Jefferson from the Vikings, and then for the 49ers is interesting, Deebo Samuel and George Kittle, two receivers from the Niners are featured in that. Kittle is not even a receiver. He's a tight end. And interesting, a certain receiver not involved in that show. Very receiver named Brandon Ayuk. Interesting coincidence. Anyway, let's get back to this topic that we're talking about here. Building the ultimate Seahawks dream team. I'm going to go through this, and basically what I've compiled is kind of the list of the starting 11 on the offense and the defense, and then the key personnel from special teams, and then finally, of course, the coach. You can shout out your thoughts on who you believe should be in these positions as I bring up which position groups on the field. See if you agree or don't agree, and let's see what you guys think of what I got going on here. What else we got here watching? Base Tugboat 2675, what's going on? Mike Heaton, thanks for watching. Nevada Kid 2024, I got your merch is coming your way. Got the confirmation that it's been sent. Congratulations. Be the first one to figure out that I was in London a couple weeks ago. So congratulations, you got merch coming. Dev Peterson, I might get NCAA 25. It's on my list to do it, so I haven't even cracked open my Madden, though, so I got to get that going as well, but we'll check it out. There you go. Nevada Kid, You Betcha, and Ancient Hawk 48 as well watching tonight. So let's get right into it, all right? So let's start with the offense. All right, let's get my notes in here so I make sure I do these guys right. All right, here we go. From the offensive side of the ball, we're going to talk about position by position. We'll start right here. To me, the obvious one. Let's start with the most important position on the field, the quarterback. Who should that be? Well, I think that's a pretty easy one. Got to go with Danger Russell Wilson. Despite how you may feel about him now, this dude, can't deny what he did with his 10 years here in Seattle. Playmaking ability, leadership, got us a Super Bowl ring. Holds franchise records for most passing yards, 37,059. Touchdowns, 292. 9-time Pro Bowler. And, of course, 2 appearances in the Super Bowl, winning one of them. We won't talk about the second one, of course. All right, so let's go to running back. This was a tough one because there was a lot of guys who could have qualified for this, but I had to go with the one who I wanted to see the most. And I got to go with Beast Mode, Marshawn Lynch. Who doesn't want to watch Beast Mode, not only for what he does on the field, but his antics are never a lack of entertainment. Powerful runner, clutch performances, especially in the playoffs. Rushed for over 6,000 yards, 57 touchdowns, 5-time Pro Bowler, and a key player in our Super Bowl runs. And, of course, there was the famous Beastquake run in our 2010 season when he first came to the Hawks. There you go. So let's go to fullback, a position not much talked about these days, as a fullback is kind of a dying position. However, let's go. Tough one here as well, but I had to go with, got to go back to the 80s, John L. Williams. John L. Williams was not only a great fullback, but he could do multiple things out of the backfield. He could block, he could run the football, and he could catch the football as well. But you could have put in a couple guys in here. Max Strong was another guy I was thinking about. Michael Robinson, too, was great as well. But had to go with John L. Williams, go back in the way back time machine to figure that one out. All right, here we go. Another tough one to figure out. Wide receiver. Well, one of these is not that hard. Wide receiver, the clear choice, Steve Largent. Yes, the Hall of Famer, the master, the legend. How can you not put Steve Largent in at wide receiver 1? Hall of Famer, yes, indeed, holds franchise records for most receptions, 819, receiving yards, 13,089, and receiving touchdowns, 100. 7-time Pro Bowler and a 5-time All-Pro, and is a member of the Ring of Honor. Now, wide receiver 2 was a little more challenging, but I had to go with a guy who really was not highly rated in the beginning, but proved to be one of the best, especially for Seattle. Got to go with Doug Baldwin, number 89. Originally number 15, switched to number 89. But this dude, leadership, toughness, great route runner. Man, he had a great move off the line of scrimmage, making big plays in crucial moments. I think about the pass before the Curse touchdown in the NFC Championship against the Packers on a 3rd down play. Without that play, we don't even get to see the Curse touchdown because we needed a first down and he got it. And that's just one of many moments. I think about the ice game against the Vikings in 2015 where he made that Spider-Man leaping catch with one hand. That was awesome. So what else? 6,500 receiving yards, 49 touchdowns, 2 Pro Bowl selections. He wasn't highly rated outside of this organization, but I feel like what he contributed to this organization, you can't underestimate how great he was. All right, tight end. This was a different type of difficult challenge because it was really hard to figure out. It wasn't an obvious one, like who really was a great tight end for Seattle. But when I had to kind of compile the numbers and really look at it, only one guy kind of came to the top of that list, and that was Jimmy Graham. Now, that's a weird one, right? Because Jimmy Graham is much maligned, looked at as often a major disappointment for Seattle, and he was when you compare to what he did with Drew Brees and the Saints. What he did in Seattle didn't compare at all to that for the expectations that we had. But when you look at his productivity after he kind of got a slow start and got going, he actually was one of the most productive tight ends Seattle's ever had. And you look back and you kind of look at the names that are come and gone and wore the tight end numbers. There's really never been a really dominant tight end. It's sadly one of the positions that have really never quite developed into that just stud tight end that you could just go to, when push comes to shove. Sadly, something that we really need. Maybe we got one this year. We'll find out. But went with Jimmy Graham on that one. All right, now let's go to the trenches here. There's a lot of had to really kind of go back and do some looking back. I see that I see Max Unger's in the list in there. But let's go here to a little bit further back, but not too far back. Robbie Tobeck, part of that 2005 team, played 176 games over his 14 seasons, and good leader, reliable, always available. Started from 2000 for the Seahawks to 2006. Again, was part of that Super Bowl 40 team. Should have won a ring. Pretty much that whole team should have won a ring. Got robbed. Pro Bowler that year in 2005. Robbie Tobeck. Max Unger was there too, but I had to kind of compare, and I felt like, if I had to choose one at the top of their game, Robbie Tobeck by a hair. All right, let's go left guard. Left side of the line is easy peasy, man. None other than Steve Hutchinson. This dude, man, part of that 2005 offensive line. Hall of Famer, dominant in the trenches, 7-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro. Tough one on this is if you were around during that time when there was a contract extension after the Super Bowl 40, we had that little poison pill in his deal where contractually he ended up going from Seattle to play for the Vikings, breaking up that awesome offensive line for more money, and it was a bitter pill for us to swallow for a long time. I think people finally got over it after a while, but for a stretch there, Steve Hutchinson's name was up there with Alex Rodriguez as villains in Seattle for having left for more money. But couldn't argue what he could do on the field at that left guard position. All right, let's go right guard. A little more hazier here, but I went with Brian Millard. Had to go back in the way back time machine again. Brian Millard played from 84 to 91, started 99 games, played in 121 of them. Considered one of the most underrated linemen of his time. He earned second-team All-Pro honors in 1988. I believe that was a playoff season, one-and-done playoff appearance. And so Brian Millard is who I went with on right guard. Now, this one, probably the easiest of all time here. Left tackle, there is no question about it. You got to go with the legend, Walter Jones. Best to ever do it. Hall of Famer, 9-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro, member of the Ring of Honor. 12 years. Here's the amazing thing. In his 12 years as a Seattle Seahawk, Jones gave up only 23 total sacks. And guess how many times he was called for holding in 12 seasons? 9 times. 9 times. Can you believe that? 9 times. That means he'd had less than 1 holding call per year. I swear there were linemen who got called for 9 holding calls in like 2 games. That is just amazing. That blows my mind when I still look at that stat. 9 times in 12 seasons. That is crazy. He was so good. Can't believe he doesn't have a ring. It's highway robbery, man. Should have had one. All right, let's go to right tackle. Left side line is so clear. The right side, not so much. Right tackle, I went with Sean Locklear. Again, part of that 2005 season. Sadly, when I think of Sean Locklear, I think of that play where he got called undeservedly for holding in Super Bowl 40, when the lineman was clearly offside. They called him for holding, which negated what would have been a deep pass to the tight end, Jeremy Stevens, at the 2-yard line, probably setting up Sean Alexander for a touchdown that would have given us the win in Super Bowl 40, but no, they had to call holding, and next thing you know, 2 plays later, Hasselbeck throws an interception, the Steelers score, game over. Should never have happened that way. Robbed, I tell you. Robbed. Back to the list here. So that's it. That rounds it off. My ultimate Seahawks team on offense. Russell Wilson at quarterback. Marshawn Lynch, beast mode at running back. John L. Williams at fullback. Steve Largent and Doug Baldwin at receiver. Jimmy Graham at tight end. Robbie Tobeck at center. Steve Hutchinson, Brian Millard at the guards. Walter Jones and Sean Locklear at the tackles. There you go. So let's see what we got here. Who else? We got What Panda. I see people agreeing a lot here, like Nevada Kid had Baldwin, as well as Dev Peterson. What Panda agreed. Base Tugboat said Lockett. I had Lockett there too, and that was hard not to put him on there, but you can only have 2 in this setup. So Base Tugboat wanted Luke Wilson. I had him temporarily till I really looked at the numbers, and I couldn't deny. I wanted Luke Wilson for the emotional side of just liking Luke Wilson, but as much as I wasn't a huge fan of Jimmy Graham, I couldn't deny the numbers. Nevada Kid, yeah, Baldwin could move, like I said. Base Tugboat likes Greg Olson. Yeah, he was not bad, but 1 year, not enough material there to justify. Chad Hart, what's going on from Arizona? Fei Wu Huang. Our O-line when we had Jones and Hutch was the best. Absolutely. Hello, FR. Hello, for real. Do you like coconut trees? I like the idea of living in places with coconut trees. I myself am not a coconut fan, so I'm not a big coconut dude, but I like the trees. Hey, Lori Cross, one of my biggest supporters ever. Lori, and you always said I don't call you out or I don't shout you out. Well, I'm shouting you out now. So, Lori, thanks for watching. I hope everything is good. I know you've gone through some trials and tribulations lately, and I hope everything's good with your family. So, thoughts are with you, hoping that everything is working out for you. Mike Heaton, Kurt Warner with a C. Yeah, he was another one of those guys that it was hard to not put on that list for sure. All right, now let's go to the defense. Now this is a little bit tricky in the sense that the defense, we got some great defenders over the years, especially in certain positions. So we're gonna have some debating here. All right, we're gonna start in the line and work our way back. So we start the tackle. This one is a pretty easy one. We got to go with Cortez Kennedy. Cortez Kennedy, man, another one of those guys. They're legends. Hall of Famer, one of the most defensive tackles ever, 8-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, 58 sacks, 668 tackles, also a member of the Ring of Honor. He was posthumously inducted into the Ring of Honor. This guy was amazing. He was one of those guys, he was like a great lineman, defensive lineman on a horrible, the Seahawks were a horrible offensive team. He was like, I think, Player of the Year or Rookie of the Year. Can't remember which one it was, but in '92 when the Seahawks went 2-14 with like one of the crappiest offenses we'd ever had. Sad, never got to be paired up with the right grouping. But we go to the other tackle. This one had to go in the Wayback Machine as well. Joe Nash. You guys remember Joe Nash? While back. And played 218 games, the most in franchise history. 47.5 sacks, 779 tackles over 15 seasons. Pro Bowl, All-Pro honors in 1984. And this dude also holds the Seahawks record for the most blocked field goals with 8. That's pretty darn impressive. All right, so now we go to the defensive end. Again, this one was tough. I had to I started with some of the newer guys and ended up going back in time a little bit. But we start with Jacob Green. Jacob Green. Remember Jacob Green? This dude was, he's the franchise leader in sacks. 97.5 sacks, 2-time Pro Bowler. He was a key player, always in the backfield during the 80s. also a member of the Seahawks Ring of Honor. So I had to put Jacob Green in there at defensive end. Now this one here, I had Michael Bennett on there for a while, but then I ended up switching. Actually, I had a friend of mine kind of convinced me and made the argument that made me switch. Went with Michael Sinclair. Again, it's hard to compare guys because, it's easy to just go, let's just put the guys who, won the Super Bowl. But there were teams that didn't go far, but still had amazing players, and this is one of them. Michael Sinclair, great pass rusher, 73 and a half sacks, 3-time Pro Bowler. This dude was good. Look up his stats or look up his highlights if you can find them. Again, a few years back. All right, let's go to linebacker here. I think this one's an easy one. Everybody would agree on this. And hey, Alena is here. What's up, Alena? It's good to see you. I haven't been as busy on here as I'd want to be, but it's picking up. It's picking up here. So, yeah, she agrees with that. Yeah, the 92 team. All right, let's go. Bobby Wagner, no doubt about it. Future Hall of Famer, one of the best middle linebackers of his era, 8-time Pro Bowler, 6-time All-Pro, holds the franchise record for most tackles with over 1,300. I think everybody would agree on that. And just the shame of it is, I guess the sad business part of football is we had him, he left to go to the Rams, came back, and he left again. And we'll be playing on the Commanders this year. It just sucks to think that this might be it. This might be his swan song and be wearing a Commanders uniform. It just kind of sucks. You kind of wanted him to just finish out his career here. But I understand it. I understand the reasons for it. But it still sucks nonetheless. We've got a couple of new guys in at linebacker, and none of them have even shown up on the field. They will be here next week, though, for training camp. But they pretty much have not played any of the off-season training camps yet. So we'll see what happens when they take the field because big shoes to fill. All right, so we got middle linebacker. That's an easy one. So then we go to another, I think, not to be argued with too much, KJ Wright. If loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. Wright recorded over 900 tackles, 13 and a half sacks in 161 games, earned a Pro Bowl selection. His ability to set the edge against the run and excel in zone coverage made him an invaluable asset. And one thing about KJ Wright, he did play 1 year with the Raiders, but retired as a Seahawk. KJ Wright was one of those guys that he played that position where he didn't get a lot of credit for what he did because it wasn't like he rushed the passer a lot. The middle linebacker gets all the glory, but I feel like he was underrated. Never quite got the press. Just did get those numbers that just blow you away. But he was so good when paired up with Bobby Wagner. And a great guy in the community. I personally have had a chance to hang out with him and get to know him. And I wish he could play. He could have kept playing. But now he's a linebacker coach for the 49ers. Business side of things. Don't always love it, but it's just the way it goes. But he was great while he was here. All right, let's go to the other side, strong side linebacker. And we go back to this guy. He's still an active member of the community here. But when he was a rookie coming out in 2005, this dude was balling. So kind of undersized linebacker. I kind of cheated here. He was a middle linebacker when he played, but I slid him over at strong side just to get him in this list. Lofa Tatupu. Dude was a smart guy, came out of USC, playmaker, 3-time Pro Bowler, was an All-Pro, recorded over 500 tackles and 10 interceptions during his career. Felt like he didn't play that long, but when he did, dude was impactful, helped get the Seahawks to the Super Bowl. Again, a guy that you wish could have had a ring to show for it. Got a chance to hang out with him when we did a lottery, Washington State lottery commercial. I ran behind him, running onto the field in this commercial, and I kind of strained my hamstring running behind him. You can kind of tell in the commercial because I'm limping as I'm running. But it was not my best night. But I was like, I'll be damned if I'm not going to keep up with Lofa. That was a fun night a few years ago, 2020, when we weren't allowed in the stadium. All right, let's go to the fun part now. We get to the secondary. Legion of Boom, obviously floating in the wings here. Here we go. Left corner. This is an easy one. Richard Sherman, of course. Legion of Boom, the voice of the Legion of Boom. 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, 32 picks, 99 passes defended with the Seahawks. Obviously instrumental in getting the Seahawks to their first Super Bowl win with the tip against the 49ers and against Michael Crabtree. And, of course, leading us to that eventual win against the Broncos in Super Bowl 48. Do you guys remember that in Super Bowl 48, Richard Sherman actually got hurt? He got, somebody hit his ankle late in the game, and he was actually in a boot and crutches to finish Super Bowl 48. Do you guys remember that? Yeah, it was rough. Rough finish for him, but they got the job done. All right, let's go to the other side corner, and I had to go back in time a little bit here. But this guy was great when he played. Dave Brown. You guys remember Dave Brown? He had to be around during the 80s like Alena Dahl. And Dave Brown was, or is, I should say, the franchise leader in interceptions with 50. He was a Pro Bowler, key guy in the 80s. Holds the record for the most interceptions by a Seahawk in one game. Do you know how many it was? Want to take a pick? Want to take a guess out there? Anyone guessing how many picks did Dave Brown get in one game? I'm gonna see if anybody takes a guess on here. Check in the comments. Give you 5 more seconds. I'll give you a hint. It's less than 10. Nevada Kid guesses 5. Close. Joey Del Rosario says 3. Alexander Matthews. Ding, 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 ding. 4 is correct. Lena Dahl says 62. Yes, you're the winner, Alexander Matthews. 4 picks in the game for Dave Brown. Sygen also got that right. Hello, for real as well. Thank you, Lena. Always with the jokes. Yes, 4 interceptions in one game. That was pretty amazing. I remember watching that on TV. All right, now we go to the safety position. This was tough, but I found a way to make it work for me. And there's going to be some of you not happy with this. Some of you are not going to be happy with this. Lori Cross says, I was right. She must have guessed 4. Because if loving you is wrong, I don't want to be right. All right. Let's go with strong safety. This man needs no justification. Bam, bam, Cam. Put the boom in the Legion of Boom. Cam Chancellor, one of my favorite Seahawks of all time. 8 seasons, 606 tackles, 12 picks, 9 forced fumbles, 44 passes defended. Chancellor earned 4 Pro Bowl selections and 2 second-team All-Pro honors. Should have been first team. He was mammoth. He was huge in Super Bowl 48. He, in my opinion, should have been the MVP of Super Bowl 48. They gave that to Malcolm Smith, who did well as well, but I think he kind of benefited from a lot of other players' accomplishments in that game. Having to be there to catch the ball when it was knocked out of players' hands, and happened to be there to recover a fumble that just happened to land kind of in his lap. So, but yeah, Cam Chancellor was the guy who really impacted that game. And it really had an impact his entire career with the Seahawks. So we go to free safety. And I know what a lot of you are thinking. I think a lot of you right away are thinking, who? Yes, like Sygen. Says Earl Thomas. Anybody else? Alena Dahl's not happy about the MVP choice either. All right, well, I'm going to tell you already. It's not in my list. It's not Earl Thomas, but it is Kenny Easley, the original enforcer. Fei Wu Huang agrees with me. And let me just tell you why. So, free safety, the original enforcer, Kenny Easley, Hall of Famer, one of the hardest hitting players in the NFL history. 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, 32 picks, 8 forced fumbles. And personally, what is a great memory for me was I had the honor of accompanying Mama Blue to Kenny Easley's Hall of Fame induction ceremony in Canton back in 2017. So I got to be in the building when he gave a speech, and he shouted out Mama Blue and say, "Hey, Mama Blue, can you do the wave for us like we did in the Kingdom when I come back there?" And that was pretty awesome to be there to see Mama Blue's reaction and to hang out with her, and had a chance to meet Kenny as well. So besides all that, he was just amazing. When he played, he was just that's why they call him the Enforcer. Guy was just brutal. It would be fun. It would be such a cool thing in some kind of wild fantasy to be able to see Kenny Easley, Enforcer 1, Cam Chancellor, Enforcer 2, lurking in that backfield. Can you imagine the hits these guys would make on receivers and tight ends going across the middle? Oh, man, that would be a nightmare for any offensive receiver going down the field. Of course, this day and age, who knows, maybe it'll play the same way because all the rules are different now, and you can't knock guys' blocks off like you could before. Anyway, let's go back to the defense. So that's it. That rounds it off. In the trenches, Cortez Kennedy, Joe Nash. At ends, Jacob Green, Michael Sinclair. Linebacker, Bobby Wagner, KJ Wright, Lofa Tatupu. Corners, Richard Sherman, Dave Brown. And at safety, Cam Chancellor and Kenny Easley. All right, so now we go to special teams. This one wasn't quite as hard. I'm just not the whole entire special team. I'm just kind of going for the kickers, really. So at special teams, do this one quick. Kicker, got to go with Norm Johnson. Norm Johnson, they used to call him Mr. Automatic. And why? Because, well, he's the all-time leading scorer for the Seahawks, 810 points, two-time Pro Bowler. It was so good, and that's how he earned that name, Mr. Automatic. Still lives in the area, too, by the way. All right, so for punter, this is one of the actually few guys who is still active on the Seahawks who I put on this list. Got to go with Michael Dixon, man. Michael Dixon. And I know it's still early in his career, but this dude, man, so good, right? You don't. There's so many times I jokingly said MVP for Michael Dixon, because this guy has often gotten us out of jams when it looked like our offense is sputtering. We're pinned way back in our own territory. And what does Michael Dixon do? Kick that ball out of here and flip the field and pin them back on the other side. What a weapon. So Michael Dixon, he also, let's see, what did I say? Two-time Pro Bowler, All-Pro, ranks among the tops in terms of punting average and net punting yards. And he has that unique special honor of having kicked a ball twice in one play. I don't even know how that was legal, but I think it was 2021 when he was playing, it was an evening game against the Rams, I believe, and they were wearing their greens, their Kermit the Frog green outfits. And remember, he got his kick blocked. And then the ball was like spinning like a top near the left side of the line. Then he ran and grabbed it and kicked it again. I remember thinking, that can't be legal. I think it was even across the line of scrimmage. There was just so many things I thought was wrong with that play. But they made it count. He kicked the ball down and they downed it on the other side. I couldn't believe it. So I don't think that's ever happened before. Could be wrong, at least as a Seahawk. I'm pretty sure he's the only one who's ever done that. Pretty cool. The way he scooped it up, too, was impressive. All right, long snapper, just Tyler Ott came to mind because he was there for a long time and did a pretty good job. So, if you're not mentioning the snapper's name, that means they're doing something right. And I was thinking, no one ever thinks about becoming a long snapper, right? Like says, hey, Johnny, when you grow up, what do you want to do? You want to grow up and play football? What position you want to play? Long snapper, Dad. Like, nobody ever wants that. But that would actually be the smartest position when you think about it, because maybe next to kicker or punter. But if you can't kick and you can't punt, just be good at long snapping, because it's like the easiest position because you don't have to hit anybody. When it comes to practices, you always have the kicker and the punter and the long snapper on the other side doing their own thing. They're not even part of any of the regular drills with tackling or anything like that. And they'll make long careers out of it. So if you can just learn to long snap and be as accurate as hell, what a gig, man. Make millions just snapping the ball. Something to think about for you future football players out there. All right, let's go with the one last, well, I got 2 more pages here, but with coach, I think that's a pretty easy one. Got to go with the gum chewer, Pete Carroll, of course. Greatest Seahawks coach of all time. We've had other great coaches. Chuck Knox, comes to mind, who got the Seahawks to their first playoffs. But, energetic, positive Pete. the gum chewing, the relentlessly 14 seasons, 10 playoff appearances, 5 NFC West titles, and a Super Bowl 48 victory. Should have been 2 Super Bowls. We all know that. But he has a career regular season record of 170, 120, and 1. That one tie against Arizona. Postseason record of 11-11. So 500 record in the playoffs. Not bad. Not bad. I think, you can't really argue anyone else because obviously one Super Bowl, you got to give it to him. But consistently in the playoffs, hopefully that can a new era will start this year. And maybe can we put a different coach up there on that list or even other players? I want to see what you think. Who would be, as we're wrapping this up, I'm going to go to some honorable mentions here, but keep this in mind. Think about who would you put on this list of the players who are current or maybe just coming in who might end up on a future like 10 years from now when we're doing a greatest team. Who might be on that list 10 years from now? Give that some thought. But honorable mention, running back, Sean Alexander. He was great with the Seahawks. And when you got the ball inside first and goal, this guy always scored. Had some amazing games when he ran for like 200-plus yards on prime time. He guys was special. He just didn't run like beast mode. He kind of went down whenever contact was imminent. But, man, he had a nose for the goal line, that's for sure. Linebacker, had to throw Chad Brown in there. Chad Brown, again, was one of those teams that just never really went anywhere. But Chad Brown was a really good linebacker. Also, Joey Galloway at wide receiver. Remember him? That dude was awesome, too. Back in those days when we were still in the Kingdom. And he made some pretty amazing plays at receiver. And then, as I mentioned before, Kurt Warner at running back. Outstanding running back, especially when you consider what he was running on that nasty turf that just tore up knees and just so brutal on the body. Had some amazing seasons. Almost got us to a Super Bowl back in the 80s. They fell one game short. But I also got to know him personally when we were doing a fundraiser for his sons who are autistic. And really great guy and, humble dude. And it was just cool to, after all these years of watching him on TV play for the Seahawks, to get to know him in person was pretty amazing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's see. What else we got in here? We've got question from Sigen wants to know, how will the Seahawks fare this season? Well, I'm going to do as always, every year I do my Seahawks music prediction video. And I've got them right now. When I did my sort of like run through the schedule and look at it, I said 10-7. But I will do my music video, and that will be my official prediction right before the beginning of the regular season. So as of now, my temporary prediction is that 10-7 and good enough to get into the playoffs. Probably not good enough to win the division, but good enough to at least get into the playoffs. Okay, let's see. Nevada Kids got 10-7 as well. Jay Sharma, Jade's cousin's dog just passed away. Oh, that's sad. Joey Del Rosario mentions Brian Blades. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Alena brings up Rufus Porter, Eugene Robinson. Yep, those were pretty good too. Just not good enough to crack my top list. Andrew D says Zach Miller. I had Zach Miller penciled in for a second too. I think I had Zach Miller. Then I changed it to Luke Wilson, and then ultimately I looked and put down Jimmy Graham. Robbie Tobeck, I had him as my center, by the way. Alena, maybe you missed it in the beginning, but I did. I put Robbie Tobeck as the center. Chad Brown was great, says Alexander. Oh, this was a good one. Fei Wu Huang also says Trufant. Yeah, I think he deserves honorable mention too. Yeah, Marcus Trufant, also a great community guy. But yeah, he was good. He was really good out of Wazoo. So yeah, that's a good one. Should put on that list. Saijen holding it for 10-7. Laurie Cross has got 10-7. Ooh, look at that. Andrew D. Leon Washington's kick return. I didn't really do kick returners. That would have been fun to do, but Leon Washington was badass. That dude was like, you just got excited every time he had a chance to touch the football. Base Tugboat 2675 says 11-6. Alexander Matthews, Sean Springs. He was good. I thought about him, but just does not hold the candle to the two I picked in here. Alena's just doubling down on Robbie Tobeck. Grid flow. What about best returner and best special teams gunner? Yeah, I just didn't get that far into it. Kind of limited the list. So that would have been a fun discussion too. Nate Burleson was a pretty good punt returner. Chad Hart, Dave Craig in the Ring of Honor too. But, I had to pick one. And, for the number of years and the consistency we had, you can't deny Russ. Cannot deny the Russ factor. Base tugboats. Oh, yeah, I think he's going on the future list. Devin Witherspoon, I agree. I think Spoon, good chance that he could be on that list. I'm really hoping that Byron Murphy will become the next greatest defensive lineman right next to Cortez Kennedy. Can you imagine Cortez Kennedy? And I just said his name. Byron Murphy right next to each other. Oh, man. I hope Byron Murphy pans out to be as good as we're hoping, because that dude, right now, he looks really impressive. Alena Dahl says 10-7 as well. John Freeze. Uh-oh. No. Jay Sharma's back from Italy. Wow, nice trip. Hello, for real. Thoughts of UW football. Man, it's just like everything around here. So many changes. Change of athletic director, new coach, players leaving. I don't know. I have got an over good feel with the current state of the Huskies, but we'll see how they do. It's and new league too, right? Left the Pac-12 to go to the Big Ten. So crazy. It's all about the money these days. Show me the money. Lori Cross met Byron Murphy last Sunday. Oh, how cool is that, Lori? Was he cool? He seemed like a cool guy. I hope that went well. Sajan, ready for college and NFL football. It's right around the corner. You get that feeling that when it starts hitting September, you get that smell of fall in the air. Summer's right about to turn the corner, and it's something else. And we're getting there. We're getting closer. Pirate Girl Uma. Penix is a traitor. What? Why is he a traitor? We got drafted by Atlanta. He didn't have any choice in that. Lena's excited for UW football. Looking good. Lori Cross says he was an awesome guy. He's ready. I'm ready. I'm ready for that. All right. Well, that wraps up this little edition of live streaming. I'm going to be doing a lot more as things come. Like I said, I'm going to be there at training camp on the 24th next week. I'm going to do a little contest out here to see if somebody out there might want to join me for training camp on the 24th. So keep a lookout on social media if you want to go to that training camp as my guest. I'm going to have some passes available, so keep an eye out for that in the next couple days. Otherwise, we'll catch you guys next time. I'm going to watch some Mariners baseball, make a little dinner here. But that's it. Hope you guys stay well. Keep cool, because it's hot out there in some places. It's hot in my room right now. But I will see y'all later, and take it easy. Go Hawks.